morning. This is Vicki Jervikis of the Greater Gainesville Chamber. I am the Director of Public Policy here, and I'm delighted to welcome one of our candidates for school board, specifically District 1. And this is one of our incumbents, Tina Certain. Welcome, Tina.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're going to have a few minutes to talk to Tina this morning. We'll have 5 questions for her and an opening and a closing, so we'll get a chance to get to know her even better than we already do. So jump right in, Tina, and tell us a little about yourself.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you and your members on this Zoom. My name is Tina Certain. I'm seeking re-election to Alachua County School Board District 1 seat. I'm a native of Gainesville, Florida. I was born and raised, educated right here in Alachua County at public schools, as well as Santa Fe and the University of Florida. I graduated from UF with a Bachelor's of Science in Accounting, and I hold a Certified Management Accountant certificate. I'm married to Lawrence Certain. We've been married 32 years. Lawrence is a career law enforcement officer. We have 2 young adult children who are, all of us are products of Alachua County Public Schools. Our children, our son Lawrence II is a union electrician apprentice. He's starting his 2nd year of that program, that work program, work and learning. Our daughter Taylor just finished a doctorate of pharmacy at Florida A&M University, and she is starting a residency, a pharmacy residency at Shands at UF. I am excited for the work that I've been doing. It's been challenging during the pandemic, but nevertheless, I'm committed to the work and seeking re-election to a 2nd term.
Very good. All right, let's jump in for some questions for you. The first one is, what do you perceive are the 3 most important concerns facing the school district right now?
So there are a lot of issues that are facing public education at this time. And I think 3 key ones are recruitment and retention of staff, instructional staff, as well as support staff. I think preserving public school as public schools and maintaining a healthy student population, a good number of students, so that we have the funding to be able to operate our system. And then funding. Costs are rising and our funding is set by the state legislature. And we have to be able to operate out of that funding allotment that we get. So there are some challenges that come along with that. And with the way our funding is done, school funding is done. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, Vicki, but we are, the required local effort is set by the state legislature when they come out of session. That is the amount that Tallahassee tells us we levy here locally so that we can participate in the Florida Education Financing Program. And it's out of that allotment that we have to operate our school districts. The majority of our funding goes towards salaries, and that because our required local effort is set in Tallahassee, since I've been on the board, as well as in years prior to that, the rollback rate has been put in effect, and that is not allowing districts to benefit from the appreciation in property values so that we can keep up with the rising costs of health insurance, fuel, be able to give significant raises and to our staff. Retirement costs are increasing. So we just have some limits that are placed on us, but those are the 3 things that I think that are really key to being able to maintain the integrity of the system and be able to serve our students and provide a very good quality education to all of them.
Very good. The second question is, what is the role of the school board in the community, in your opinion?
Well, in my opinion, I'll start with the law. So by statute, school board members are the policy makers, and we're given by our state constitution the authority to operate the school district day to day. So there are 3 things that the school board, the majority of the school board is tasked with doing. We are required to hire a superintendent, we hire a board attorney, and we adopt a balanced budget. Those 3 things have to be done. And our superintendent ends up being the face of the organization because the superintendent is responsible by law. That's his or her duties are outlined in our state constitution as being responsible for the day-to-day activities of the school district. But as a board member, in addition to those things that I have taken upon myself to be more visible in the community, to be visible in our school settings, especially the schools that have been designated by the state as low performing schools. And I've been commended for that by one of our DOE staff for being in those school settings and supporting the principals and the staff. It's not like an I got you type thing. It's there really to learn the operations, to see I've seen firsthand the challenges that these schools and their principal and the staff are facing. But I think in addition to being a policymaker, I think we are there to communicate and collaborate with other governmental agencies, which is something I have done. I've worked with the county commission to secure funding that's benefited our students and staff, playground equipment to serve at a creation of a pocket park at Lake Forest. We've formed partnerships with Santa Fe, and one partnership that we formed with UF, University of Florida, our early literacy program called UFly, which is a K-2 initiative that's in all the schools. So I think the collaboration and trying to create progress and being the face of the organization, I think we're not just an organization or a board that meets on Tuesdays twice a month and for a workshop. I do think we have to engage with our community and listen to everyone. We are elected at large by the county, and I have to live in this district, but my decisions are impacting every school that's in the county. And so I've tried to be out in the county at different schools. Like I said, I've visited and been in the schools that are in turnaround status more because I feel they've needed more support and more visibility. And my getting out has been hampered because of COVID. I really respected the pandemic and did not go into those spaces if I didn't absolutely have to. But this past school year, I've been out a little bit more, but I think a board member is more than just a policymaker that's there. Folks really look at us as being members of the community, and that they can bring their concerns to. I get a lot of concerns that I don't have direct authority to address, but hearing citizens out, parents out, and taking their concern to the appropriate staff person to be addressed has been beneficial to them as well as to me. And I think it's satisfying to them, for them to feel that they're being heard and that their needs and concerns are considered.
Very good. Touching back to the first question, our third question is, what would be your top priorities and projects if you're reelected?
Oh, well, so my top priority, there's so many. And you're trying to prioritize them. I would like to, my goal is to continue the progress that has been made on our early literacy. That is one key thing. It's why I decided to run. I had been monitoring and compiling student performance data for over 5 years before I decided to run for office. The goal or the job of a school district is education, and educating and imparting skills and ensuring that the students are proficient at all levels, and that's all students. My heart has been, and my concern has been, for those who, the students who seem to be in school settings where they have been chronically behind, not on grade level. So when I came, I decided to run because I felt my children were not part of that demographic, or those students that were not on grade level. In our school district for over 8 years, about 70% of African-American students have not been on grade level for any metric that we've had. So that is my priority, is to address those deficiencies, to be a policymaker, to advocate for programs and policy changes that will address them. I'm not saying we advocate our high achieving students, because we're doing that well. There is no question about that. I received a good public school education. My children both received a very good public school education. And I saw the disparity between where they attended school and what they got and what other children were not getting, and what, And so for me, my whole goal in a second term is to continue the progress of focusing on early literacy, because I feel if we start children off, our youngest learners off, and they're on grade level by grade 3, we eliminate the other issues that we will see down the road. Then I am going to work and focus on strategies for our older learners, our children that are in middle school and high school, who have they got away from us in elementary school. You know, I've only been on the board for 4 years, so our children that are in middle school and high school, they had matriculated through the system and didn't necessarily attain the skills that they needed. So my goal in going into a second term is to continue the progress in the early literacy space in the K through 2 and ensure that those programs are built up, but also to develop policies and initiatives that will address our older learners so that we can do things to remediate them or accelerate them to get them on grade level so that we can prepare them to enter into post-secondary learning or work. We want to, I truly believe that every student is going to need some type of post-secondary training so that they can be successful in providing for themselves and their family going forward in the future. A high school diploma is not sufficient because it limits their job opportunities that they can have. And if they're in service and low skill jobs, they're not going to earn a salary that's sufficient to pay rent, which is skyrocketing, utilities, transportation costs, food costs. So I think we have to prepare our students, and it has to be our focus so that they can be successful we have the #1 state college in our backyard, but there's certain metrics and skill sets that students need to have to go there. So that is my main focus going into the second one.
Very good. Fourth question is, there has been significant turmoil in the district and within the school board. How is this best addressed?
So change is hard. I ran as a change agent, you know, change is hard and it is often not well received and is often fought against by folks who are happy with the status quo. So we look at it as, or the way I look at it is, do you stay the same or do you work for change? When I decided to run in 2018, my goal was to work towards change, and not change for change's sake, but change for the betterment of our district. And when I say betterment of our district, if the district is going to do well, our lowest performers and our students have to do better. And we have to have vision and focus on moving the needle to address the needs of our lowest performing students. So when you come in as a change agent, sometimes folks don't always appreciate that, or it's not well received. And I think that's what I saw some of during my first, initially early on in my term. I think we handle that as being professionals. We come prepared for meetings, having studied the materials, and we bring our different perspectives, and we work to try to build consensus and collaboration. Everyone is not going to get everything that they want, but if our goal is to improve public education for every student, we should be able to find consensus and agreement and arrive on a decision where we can benefit our students. I've said from the dais that this is not a zero-sum game. Us addressing the needs of our lowest performing students doesn't mean that we're doing less for those who are higher performing. But some folks have seen that as being as threatening their territory, and it's caused some turmoil. Folks have to change. If we don't change and improve as a public education system here locally, in Florida and nationwide, public education will not exist as we see it anymore. I think the efforts to privatize and to destroy public education will be successful, because we cannot continue to not serve 70% of one student demographic. The analogy I've used, Vicki, is that if we were making cars and 70% of our cars were defective, that division that was manufacturing that model would either be out of business or they're going to have to change. Just like the Ford Pinto, they don't make Pintos anymore.
That's
because
right.
So we have to do things, and oftentimes change creates turmoil. We have had a lot of change in the superintendent, and that was before I came on. I was hoping that Dr. Simon would stay on. That wasn't the will of the majority of the board, and right now, the superintendent that we have now, I think we're trying to move forward, and he is trying to get settled in, but I think he's a little skittish and doesn't want to create any turmoil himself. But a lot of times, if we continue to do the things that we've done in the past without any change, we will continue to get the results that we've gotten in the past, and that's not acceptable to me.
Very good. All right. And the final question I have for you is, one of those ones everybody loves, which is, why should the members of the business community support you?
I bring a different perspective and vision to the school board. And that is when I decided to seek office. I'm not an educator. I worked 23 and a half years in local government. So I understand fund accounting, I understand school finance. So I brought us a business perspective and a data analytics perspective to this position. I think that serves the business community as well as the school board and our community well, because I don't make decisions on emotion. Although I'm passionate about some things, I do like to make decisions that are supported by data, that are research-based. And then we have to be able to afford it. The best idea and initiative, if we can't afford it, to implement it and to sustain it it may not be the way that we should go. We may have to figure out some type of way to scale back the initiative so that we can afford it. So for me, I've held my board, I've held staff financially accountable to decisions that they're made. So I think those are all my financial background and the direct work experience that I have. I have almost 30 years of professional accounting experience before I came to the board. Those have served me well. I think I've been an asset or a good addition to the school board, as well as the other boards that I represent our school district on, because of the perspective that I bring. And I brought a collaborative spirit with me. I've tried to work with my colleagues on the board as well as with staff to get things done. And I have shown that I can work with other governmental agencies, as I said earlier, with our local county commission. I represent the school board on the Children's Trust of Alachua County. I've worked well with the city of Gainesville as well as Santa Fe College. I've built contacts with folks at the University of Florida and spearheaded initiatives there. Those are all things we have to be able to work together to do things in our community, because we're all connected to each other, and the actions and outcomes of one organization likely impact the outcomes of an entity that may have employees or staff, employees that are family members that are of our students. And also we're all interconnected in this community. And I'm invested in Gainesville. I could have left. I chose to stay. And since I chose to stay in Gainesville, I didn't stay because I didn't have any other options. I chose to stay here because my family is here and my husband's family was here, and we made our career here and we've raised our family. And I want this community to be improving for everyone, to not leave anyone behind, to actually have the rising tide to lift all boats, because that's what happened with me. I got a very good public school education. I had very good opportunities to attend Santa Fe and UF, and then was blessed with a really good job with the city of Gainesville and then a healthcare company here. So I think I bring a perspective of being invested in the community as well as a business and financial background that is an asset to the board. And I do ask that the voters indeed select me when they're voting on August 23rd.
Very good. All right. Well, we have another few minutes. So if there's anything else that you didn't get a chance to say or any other wrap up you'd like to give, the floor is yours for that.
So as you come, the election season is coming to a close. I ask that for your continued support, that we continue to work together. And you can be certain that when I come back for a second term, I will continue with a collaborative spirit. I want to continue the progress that's been made on some initiative I've mentioned, as well as working to be accountable to the citizens, as well as holding the board and staff accountable. So I ask for your vote on or before August 23rd. Be certain and vote Tina Certain for Alachua County School Board, District 1. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much, Tina. And yes, I will echo Tina's words and say, nothing gets done if we don't make our voices heard and get out and vote. So take the opportunities to get to know these candidates a little bit better. We'll have a lot of information on our website. So please visit us at GainesvilleChamber.com. And we appreciate you coming out and talking to us, Tina. And we will see you. Remember, the primary is Tuesday, August 23rd. Thanks again.